Get ready for takeoff because it's a take flight talk. It's your boy, James Wudi. We got Fitz over there in the cockpit. Whoa, hold up. Mayday, Mayday. We got somebody else with us in the cockpit. Fitz, talk to us. Tell me who this is and tell me how you're feeling.
So, we showed up here today and there was some kid that was just kind of sitting here in our waiting room on this podcast. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? It turns out I may have some blood relations with this guy. And I spoke with him before we started recording here. And I was like, listen, how do you want me to introduce you here? And he's like, well, Matt, I would love for you to tell the story of the last game that we went to. And I'm like, all right, fine. So Connor Floyd and myself, the last time that we went to a game with one another, it was December 27, 2015. Ryan Fitzpatrick beat the Patriots. The last time we have beaten the Patriots, we both attended that game. That was the game, if you recall, and Connor, want to make sure I touched on this point. That was the game when there was a little bit miscommunication on the coin flip, and you guys gave us the ball to start off. And we had Ryan Fitzpatrick go downfield to the left sideline with Quincy Enunwa, then a nice pass to Brandon Marshall, then the ultimate dagger to win the game with Eric Decker, December 27, 2015. One of the best days of my life. So this is Connor. He's my cousin. He is from Richmond. He went to UMass. He is a masshole, as he did go and log in as such. But he is a Patriots fan. And although he was raised right, I know his mother, I know his father very well. I've come to know them over the years. Sadly, sports-wise, he is a lost soul. But I'm going to kick it over to Connor, to the masshole, and I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, we're going into a Jets-Patriots game where we have not won a game against you sons of guns in some time now. So how you feeling? You guys have had a little bit of a tough season so far. What are your thoughts going into this game, strengths and weaknesses, and what's your path to victory?
Well, let me just start off thanking my dear cousin for that trip down memory lane. I'm glad that I was involved in the best day of your life. One of mine, though, would be later that February where the Patriots were hoisting the Lombardi trophy. That would be one of my best days of my life. I know you haven't experienced that yet, but it's okay.
Well, we had the third one ever. We had the
keyword yet, though. Keyword yet. I love you throwing that yet in there.
Well, yeah. So the Patriots are definitely having a rough season. The injury to Mac Jones. I'm sure you guys can relate to that with Zach Wilson. The start of the season. So I mean, hey, you have this kid Bailey Zappi come in and he starts. He's not like lighting it up, but he's definitely game managing. In the last game against the Bears, you definitely saw a quick hook on Mac Jones, which, I'm really not a fan of how it's been handled. I don't know what the deal is, but the way that the Patriots front office and coaching staff have just kind of let the media run wild with that, I think is completely irresponsible. Not a fan of taking Mac's confidence away from him because I think he's clearly still the guy. If they already named him the starter on Sunday, I think the turnovers are huge. We're turning the ball over left and right. Cannot help ourselves. We love to just give the other team as many chances as possible. Really enjoyed doing that this year. But yeah, obviously coming off a tough one against the Bears, we're just looked completely hapless other than 2 drives and a lot of quarterback drama, which we're not used to up in New England. It's kind of uncharted territory here. So.
Well, real quick, Masshole. So Woody and I, as Jets fans, obviously we've dealt with having to deal with Joe Flacco as our quarterback for the first 3 games of the season. And I think there was a very good argument to go and say that Mike White probably deserved a shot at some point in that 3-game stretch. And there's probably debates over at what point that was maybe appropriate to consider. But there's one thing I will go and say that I appreciate about Belichick's strategy where he's going to go and put the best guy out in the field. Absolutely. So relative to that, how does that kind of play in? Should we expect Mac Jones to be the quarterback all 4 quarters? Is there a line in which we're going to see Bailey come out if things don't start a certain way? What do you think?
I don't know, because it's very tough to tell because of the complete lack of addressing that's been done. Like his quick hook could have been still injury related, like get him get a couple of series, thinking they could beat the Bears anyway. And then Zappe comes in and gets 2 quick touchdowns. So, and then I think at halftime there was reports that Belichick said both Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe would play in the second half, and that didn't happen. So this is just very confusing. I have no idea what's going on at one Patriot place. I'm not sure anybody does, other than the egotistical maniac who has had a lot of success, though. So I really don't know what to expect. I mean, I think there's definitely a scenario where Bailey Zappe comes in if Mac doesn't get off on the right foot. I think Patricia is calling very different plays. Either that or the offense just plays completely differently for Zappe, which does not bode well for Mac Jones either way. It's really, really a strange scenario. I'm not sure how anybody really, even if you were plugged into the Patriots locker room, how you could have a full read on what's going on and what's going to happen.
Well, we have a little bit of a different team going into this game relative to our running back and our running tackle.
Huge.
So Woody, I want to kick it over to you. I mean, we've lost 2 players in our last win, as we discussed in last week's podcast, or a couple of days ago's podcast. And that was hurtful. That was a tough, 2 very, very tough losses. Our 2 best players on our offense down. We got Remmers, as well as Igboshi. I can't pronounce that if I was paid to. Then we obviously bring in James Robinson. Woody, talk to me about what we should expect relative to, that breakdown between Michael Carter and James Robinson this Sunday.
I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm literally feeling great. James Robinson is a stud. I do think that Michael Carter will get the lion's share of the carries, which is why people are offering me crazy things. I nabbed CD Lamb in one of my leagues for somebody who was really hungry for Michael Carter. It wasn't straight up, but I mean, Carter was a gem of mine, and then I got CD, so I'm hyped, right? So Carter will definitely be used. I mean, Robinson, I think it is, it's glossed over in the media how hard it is to, adopt a playbook and, get used to the playbook. For a running back, it's actually much easier than most positions. So Robinson, I do expect him to get some burn, but, Carter is, taking the lion's share. And I'm hoping to see, some other people, take some carries out the backfield as well. So yeah, I'm feeling good about what LaFleur will be dialing up. I'm actually curious, Masshole, because of course I got to keep tabs. I got to know what's going on with the AFC East as we try to climb up. Right now we're second, but who knows how we're going to end the season. What would you say? It sounds like you've identified the biggest weakness as, turnovers, right? Always giving the ball away. What would you say is the biggest strength of this 2022 New England Patriots team?
Great segue, because I would also say the Patriots run game is probably their strength. Hard to say defense is the strength after what the Bears just did to them. And I think the Bears are an extremely subpar team. So it's really tough to say the defense. Typically, that would be the answer, especially with the offense looking the way it is. But, Ramondre Stevenson has been having a huge year as far as Patriots running backs go, especially. He's been huge. Damian Harris kind of taking a backseat to him just says all you need to know about Ramondre pretty much. Obviously, we'll see how that happens, how that plays out on Sunday. I think the front seven is might not have the best day here. So.
Well, I mean, it's always so tough with, and this is why I think Daniel Jones, despite being a subpar passer his entire life, is still leading teams to victory. Is that the scramble factor? I felt like Justin Fields, just when you guys had the coverage down, this boy Justin Fields was just running for yardage. I don't know if Zach was watching the game on Monday or if he was with Stifler's mom or somebody else's mom, but I hope he was watching, because it looks like that might be something to kind of unlock some extra yardage against this tough Patriots D.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if they go. I mean, that would just be very unpatriot like to go back-to-back games with the same kind of attack beating them. So I would also be surprised if Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson's going to run around some. Like he's going to do some things with his legs. But I mean, if he runs on the Patriots defense like Fields did, or to that extent, or that like average of yardage, I'd be surprised. I think that's going to be a big bone of Belichick's to pick in practice this week, and he's going to hammer that point home.
Well, Zach isn't at all the same kind of runner as Justin Fields is.
Yeah.
You know, Justin Fields is a true dual threat. I mean, that guy, he will run it down your throat. Zach can do it if necessary, at a far less speed as well as strength behind his run. But he can do it. And if he's got gaps, you know, if he's got to roll out, he can do it. But that's not something, I mean, that's not at all, I don't think, in the keys to success for the Jets this week. I think the keys this week is really completion percentage with Zach. I mean, you know, I don't want to see us have to throw it 60 times like we did in the first 3 games of the season with Joe Wacko. But, you know, I think there's been some good things that have actually happened for this offense in the past week, where obviously Elijah Moore, and we're going to get into the Woody 3 where he's going to talk about that. But with Elijah Moore, he's getting put back in the slot position, which I think was a obvious decision. I don't know why he was taken out of the slot position in the first place, but that's a story for another day. But putting him back in the slot position, I think will be a great thing. I think, you know, what the Jets offense needs to do anyway against anyone, let alone the Patriots, against anybody, is, you know, 3-step dropbacks and quick slant routes. Give me quick out routes. You know, the most of the plays that we're doing to try to get the ball out of Zach's hand quicker are jailbreaks. And although they work sometimes, you know, I don't want to see a jailbreak every time we drop back to pass. And if we can go and get the ball, throwing the ball in the air 5 to 10 yards downfield a little bit more, I think that's going to be a good thing. And if Elijah Moore is put back in the slot, I think that's great. I think James Robinson, I'm going to predict this right now. I think James Robinson's probably going to be our leading target receiver, even despite him, you know, just joining the team. I think they're going to put together something for Zach just to kind of go into a tough defense and have some safeties. Because like James Robinson, I mean, that guy's hands is incredible. His yards after the catch is great. MC, I think, is going to lead the team in attempts rushing. And I think James Robinson has a good chance. At the very least, he'll be up there with targets. You know, Corey Davis, we're not expecting to play. Do we have many notes on – he's day-to-day. Is he complete? He's not completely ruled out for Sunday just yet, though, right?
He's not ruled out.
But it's unlikely.
Yeah.
So Woody, I mean, you know, tell me from the Jets' perspective here, right? I mean, what do you – this might lead into the Woody 3 here, but what do the Jets need to do to pull off a W on Sunday and do it decisively? You know, we've talked about this all season. We finally got into a position this year for the first time in some time where we're actually winning games by a touchdown plus. You know, what do we need to do, you know, to win a decisive game on Sunday?
Well, you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Brees's ACL actually did break. It's literally broken. It is broken. So we might have to fix the game plan. But I'm still running. I'm running because for the 3rd consecutive week, we are facing a team that is better attacking the pass than they are the run. I mean, the pass, I mean, it's looking a little leaky, you know, sometimes with the run D. So I definitely will be focusing on Michael Carter, James Robinson. I actually think Michael Carter is going to have his best game of the year. I think he will lead the team in both attempts and targets. I think he'll be out there doing his thing. We already seen him thrive in such a workload against the Bengals last year with Mike White. I mean, that boy, he had like 90 rushing yards and then 90 receiving yards on top of that because he was just so heavily involved. I think this is what we're going to see as we give, you know, Zach his security blanket. But Elijah Moore, this is a guy who his first touchdown in this league was a carry out the backfield against the New England Patriots. Now we know, he's had diaper rash. He's been crying. We had to put some baby powder on that bum. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. And now he is out. We've dried his tears. Mm-hmm. And now it's time to play again, right? So I think that we're about to see a nice performance from him. Now, my fear is that Bill Belichick, well, this isn't the fear. This is just a fact. Greatest coach in the league right now, greatest coach of all time. He has made a living of taking out the opposing team's number one option. He does it so well, right? And he's not afraid to admit it. They have the viral clip of him talking to Ocho Cinco, like, yeah, we about to W. Yeah, we good. Like, he has no shame, no fear. So wouldn't it be right up his alley to be so diabolical to just man up on Elijah and do everything they can to take that boy out the game? Because if that boy is taken out the game, then we have another tantrum on the sideline. Now Zach's rattled. Zach's like,
he's seeing ghosts again.
Happy, but we got to make the completion. I don't know. What do I do? And just get in the head.
Seeing ghosts again. That was Darnold. Don't say that, mess hole. That was Darnold, and that is a standard thing that young quarterbacks say. That whole ghost thing, I don't want to hear that again out of you. That's nonsense. That was a horrible mic job. They should not have put the camera and microphone on him for that. That was terrible.
I mean, hey. Belichick has had young QB's number for as long as he's had breath in his lungs, right? So I don't expect Zach to do well. I know everybody's like, oh, this is the week. It's not the week. It's not the week. This actually might be the week that he ends his pickless streak and he throws an interception. I think that's actually more likely than him throwing multiple touchdowns. I think multiple picks is more likely than multiple touchdowns.
I agree with that. And I want to chime in here quick, and I want to hear Massol's perspective here. But, one thing that we've talked about on this podcast, as well as something that Jets fans, as well as anybody in the AFC East has seen for some time, and Belichick absolutely eats up. He is a terror to rookie quarterbacks. And if we're being honest right now, Zach is playing like a high hopes, good potential rookie quarterback. I mean, I hate to say it, so I like the kid, and I've criticized him on this podcast more than once. But we're going into this game with a quarterback that is performing at a rookie level. I'm nervous about this game because I think Belichick, despite Zach being technically in his second year, I think total games played wise, I think he's probably still in the rookie season, maybe the last week of rookie season relative to a full season's work. But, we need to see him break out here. And this is a tough game to do it in. The Patriots defense, we know who they got at corners. Their safeties are tremendous. One of the things that I wanted to see the past few weeks was seeing Zach throw the ball downfield. I mean, we really haven't seen that. This is the backyard type of ball that he played at BYU. I mean, you go and give him, some space, throw it downfield. That's what made his career. That's what got him a second overall pick. And he's not done that in any of the wins that we've had in the last 4 weeks. And I wanted to see it after he got comfortable, and we haven't. But Connor, why don't you tell us about your pass defense? Woody just brought up a moment ago. More likely to throw multiple picks as opposed to multiple touchdowns. Why don't you give us kind of a little synopsis about where your passing defense stands right now?
So the passing defense seems to me like they're very, very weak zone so far, which is slightly strange for Belichick. I don't know if that's a personnel issue this year or really what's going on. The safeties seem to be fine. Just to touch on your point too, I do think it's strange why Zach Wilson is not throwing the ball downfield, because I think actually you guys have the receivers to do that, especially with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. Now that, as Woody said, he's wiped his tears and he's back on the field. So I don't understand why that's not happening. I don't think either quarterback is I think both quarterbacks in this game are more likely to throw multiple picks than multiple touchdowns. It's just because the offense is not being run to best suit them, and the defenses can be fairly stingy at times. I mean, I for one,
Sauce Gardner stingy? You don't say. You don't say.
I'm not a big fan of the Sauce Gardner Jacoby Myers potential matchup. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. And I mean, the Pats' offense is at the point where if you take Jacoby Myers out of the game and you're going up against the Jets' front seven, it's going to be a long day at the office. It's not. So, but I'm sorry. The Pats' defense is, they're Jekyll and Hyde. They're still bend don't break, and sometimes when it breaks, it is as ugly can possibly be. I mean, taking your sister to the dance, ugly, gross. So I think both teams are very much like you don't know what's showing up on Sunday.
I would wholeheartedly agree. Do not know what's showing up. I know Michael Carter will be ready. I know both Michael Carters will be ready. Offense, defense, Sauce, DJ Reed. Oh, the defense will be ready.
And that's so Massall, you brought up a good point earlier. Saying the confidence thing with Mac Jones, taking him out last game, for him to go into this game without, superior confidence, could you see a Belichick game plan where they, nearly treat him as a Darrelle Revis? Because, I mean, he's nearly playing. He's not at that level. The 2008 Darrelle Revis was ridiculous. But Sauce has been absolutely locked down when he's in man, and even in zone, he's been very good picking up the guy in his space. But our defense is a little bit funny, where we'll go back and forth between obviously man and zone, and sometimes you have some mismatches or some blown reads from other people, and then people get lost in space. But with Belichick's game plan that he lays out each week, do you see him avoiding Sauce? Because, I mean, we got DJ on the other side. We got Michael Carter the second, taking on whoever your third wide receiver is. I don't know, and probably stinks because we got better.
That would be Nelson Aguilar. So
is it Nelson Aguilar? Oh, Mr. Hands.
Yeah.
Do you see Nelson Aguilar being the guy that you guys favored this Sunday? I mean, when we got corners the way we do.
Let me tell you, I hope not.
So that's going to be bad news for you guys, huh?
He's going to be just handing the ball straight into the hands of the Jets D-backs. That man has never seen a football. He doesn't know how to fumble. Let me tell you that.
It's a fact. It's a fact. He is allergic to big skin.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all going to depend on Mac's mindset, as well as if he's out there seeing ghosts. Like if you guys start putting pressure on him, don't know like if that ankle's 100% or not. Like I said earlier, we don't know why he was pulled from that game, whether it was performance based or injury based or both. So if he's still kind of slightly gimpy, not confident in that ankle, and you start pressuring him, that's when he's going to start making mistakes, obviously, and we saw that against the Bears. I think that if he gets a clean pocket, I do think Jacoby Myers is hard to cover just because of the scheme that the Patriots offense runs. But if he's trying to force the ball to Jacoby under pressure and Sauce is covering him, that's not a matchup I would be looking at if I was Mac Jones.
Yep. I don't disagree at all.
I mean, it'll be tough. Sauce is he's handsy, he's yappy. I'm a big Sauce fan. I still think DJ Reed. I don't know. He's not getting the love that he deserves. I think Sauce is just a flashier guy. So Roger Goodell is just, pump out Sauce. Yeah. He's talking about but no, DJ Reed is doing his thing. I know if I'm an OC, I'd be more worried about the DJ side than the Sauce side. But either way, either side, I mean, how they say cooler like the other side of the pillow. Jets defense ain't no pillow. It's a rock. Either side, it's very uncomfortable.
And Woody, real quick to piggyback off what you said, I think the reason why Sauce gets a little bit more love than DJ is the pass deflections. He leads the league in pass deflections as a rookie. And I think that's because for whatever reason, people are still trying to throw at him. And I think he's had more opportunities in a pass deflecting shot than DJ has. I feel like DJ's been so good that, he's either been right up on him and that he hasn't had as many pass deflection opportunities as Sauce has because people are trying to go and target the rookie, and they've failed time after time. And I think that's probably why, at least a part of the reason why, that Sauce maybe gets a little bit more love than DJ. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. I mean, it's inarguable. He does lead the league. I mean, the stats on his deflections, right? I think he's like the first player since like 2000 to have a pass deflection in each of the first 7 games of the year. I mean, going through all those stats on him and how he's doing that is definitely super impressive. And those long arms, yep. I mean, how is he not deflecting it? So he can just reach around like your average receiver, whereas DJ, you're right. He hasn't been targeted. When he does get targeted, there was one jump ball against Cortland Sutton, and there was a stat talking about how Cortland Sutton, he just eats, he feasts on corners that are under 6 feet. Yep. DJ Reed is 5'9", right? I'm taller than him. And he was like, yeah. So he threw this jump ball, and DJ Reed was right there. Holla at your boy. Like, I love what he brings, and I feel like he's a real, locker room leader. I mean, Sauce as well. I mean, both of them. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really just splitting hairs, with me being all grumpy about DJ. But, I know that was your boy all offseason. You were like, yo, the signing of DJ Reed. And I was just like,
you guys thought I was crazy maybe because you thought I was overhyping him. I haven't heard a single ounce of doubt from any Jets fans about him coming in. I think everybody was excited about the signing. But I knew right when we brought him in, like I was looking his stuff up, and I'm like, this dude's legit, man. This dude's legit.
No, so it's inarguable.
Inarguable. And I think for us to go and have those 2 lockdown corners, in addition to, MC2 over there, playing, the nickelback. I love the corners in this matchup. I'm very confident in our passing defense as well as our rushing defense. And this is another thing that I think we should probably talk about as well. And, this rushing offense that Masshall's got over here, I'm really not too worried. And with the defense that we have, I mean, we kept Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to 60 yards combined on the ground. You're going to tell me Stevenson and Harris are going to beat out those 2 guys? I ask questions to that statement. I
will say that. Massel, don't worry, I got your back, bro. No, I definitely will say that. I would be worried about the Pats run defense. It's not necessarily about personnel. It's about the coaching. It's about the scheme, the formations. I mean, these boys literally ran on the Bills. How many rushing to Massel? I know you know the number. Last year when Mac Jones only threw 3 times, how many times did they just run on the Bills? You know it's coming. You know exactly what's going to happen, and it doesn't matter. They just punch you in the mouth. It is definitely very possible that we get run on by the Patriots. I mean, we knew it was coming in Miami, and Raheem Mostert had his best game of the season. I mean, sometimes it happens. I do think our run defense is really, really good. I can't wait. Quan's going to hit somebody. We know that. And we're all going to know when Quan hits somebody. I know that. But I definitely wouldn't say that, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, 60 yards, these boys about to get 60 yards. Nah, I wouldn't say that. I actually would expect them. I would imagine that be the primary method that they accumulate yards on us is on the ground.
I'd agree with that. I also think, the Packers, you beat the Packers by 17. Game script wasn't exactly in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon's favor after a certain point. I think that now that Breece Hall has torn his ACL, look, I'm as upset about that as you are. He was on my fantasy team. My season is now over. So, but I think now, like I would have said before, that the Jets have the running backs advantage. I don't think that can be said anymore, at least until we see what James Robinson does. His production, I actually do agree with Fitz that I think James Robinson is going to be running more than Michael Carter in this game. He's more productive, and he was playing behind Travis Etienne in Jacksonville. I think that he's ready to step back into a starting role on a team that needs it right now. But I just think there's going to be a rock fight kind of game. I think there's going to be a lot of just up the middle gut runs that are just pounding the rock. I don't see either quarterback putting on a show. It's tough to see that with the way that our passing offenses have been playing. So,
what I'm most excited about for Sunday is so the Patriots, as we all know here, are 3-4. Which, by the way, Massol, it's a losing record. You guys are under 500, and we're not. You're 3-4. You're in fourth place in the AFC East. You guys aren't used to that position. You guys are far behind what your norm has been over the last 15 years, 10, 15 years. That being the case, you guys are playing for something here. The Jets are undefeated on the road. Obviously, this game is in MetLife. I would argue this is nearly a must-win for the Jets. Although we are undefeated on the road, playing at Gillette Stadium that's a tough crowd. Even, despite what your record are, it's still a bunch of massholes showing up to that game. And that's a tough stadium to perform well in. But, you guys being behind your norm and us being above our norm, and considering the history that these two teams have, the Jets have a lot of young players. We've got a lot of young players, but they know the history. They've read their textbooks on the New York Jets history. And this rivalry is just as strong as it's ever been. So I think both teams are going to be playing for a lot this Sunday. And I think it's going to be an absolute bruiser. I hate to say this. My fear in this game is there's going to be injuries on both sides, because I think both teams are going to be coming in to kick each other's ass. And I think this is going to be one of the hardest fought games either team has played all season, because I think the Patriots are going into this knowing that this is an absolute must-win for you guys. And I think there's an argument to be made, considering that we've got the Patriots at home, we got the Bills, we got a bye, and then we're back in the Patriots away. This is a must-win for both teams. And it's going to be, like we said, it's going to be a bruiser, and I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. And I am a little bit surprised that it didn't get flexed. I was kind of expecting there'd be a shot that this game got flexed. But it is what it is. Obviously, all the games in primetime go to Russell Wilson and the poopless Russell Wilson. I don't know if you read that. He doesn't poop, apparently. He is running at 100% bodily efficiency, doesn't poop, stretches for 6 hours on a flight. But the Broncos get all the primetime games. But this is going to be a fun one. I'm very excited for Sunday at 1 o'clock.
So then tell us. What's going to happen? What's the score?
I'm going to go 20-10, New York Jets. I think this is going to be a tough game. 20 points would be great to get up on the Patriots. I think having Elijah Moore back is a great thing. I think if we utilize him in the slot well enough, we will be able to get 2 scores and then two field goals. But I'm gonna go 20-10. I don't think that this stingy defense is gonna give up much more, if anything more than a touchdown and a field goal. Massol, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think that 2 things are important here. Bill Belichick losing to the New York Jets chaps his ass unlike anything in the whole wide world.
Get the cream ready, Massol. Get the cream ready.
And I think that Mac Jones is, despite appearing to be a great teammate, DeValey's happy. He is going to come out, and he's not lighting anybody on fire, but he's going to be playing with some fire. He's going to be playing for his job on Sunday for sure. At least that's the attitude that he's going to take. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. I got 20-17 Patriots. I think that these teams, record aside, if you look at the numbers and like the averages and whatnot, these are very similar teams on paper in terms of production. I don't think this game is going to be decided by any more than a touchdown. I'd be shocked.
Woody. Woody.
Well, my prediction comes with a preface. All right. Last year, the Cincinnati Bengals were 3-2. Not one person on planet Earth, not even anybody in Cincinnati, was talking about them making the Super Bowl. They weren't even talking about them making the playoffs. Right? They were just 3-2. Oh, okay, Joe Burrow, he's back. Right? They went on to win 2 straight. Then they lost to an AFC East team.
Who was that? Remind me, who beat the Bengals last year?
Mike White put up 400 yards.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And then they lost a divisional game before heading into a bye. So they went into their bye 5-4 before, obviously coming back and having that Cinderella run. Well, at 3-2, not one person anywhere was talking about the Jets making it to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that the Jets are Super Bowl bound, but I am saying they are 5-2. They are about to play an AFC East team. And because they are also in the AFC East, the next game will be a divisional. So if we do go into our bye 5-4, just know it's not the end of the world. Because we've
5-3. We're 5-2.
So what?
We're 5-2.
Yeah, so we have 2 games.
Oh, going to the bye. Oh, you're saying if we lose the next 2. Got it. Sorry.
Yeah, so if we go into that bye 5-4, it's not because people are gonna, they're gonna be like, oh my God, we're winless without Bree. They're gonna be losing their minds. I'm just saying, we've seen it done. This game, I absolutely believe is a must-win for the Pats. I don't think it's a must-win. I mean, obviously we're trying to win. We need to win. We want to win, but I'm going with 23-20 New England Patriots. I think
you are disgusting.
I do.
Woody, if we lose this game, this is what we need to talk about. If we lose this game, there is not only a path, but there's a likely path that we're 5-5.
No.
How is that the case? You think so? We're gonna if we lose this game, we're either gonna go and beat the Bills or beat the Patriots away.
We're undefeated away. Why wouldn't we beat them away? Why are we more likely?
You don't think we can beat them at home? How are we beating them away, Wood?
What are you talking about? We've only lost at home. What are you talking about? We've only lost at home. We have not lost on the road. So you think we're more likely?
Against who? Against who? Against all these backup quarterbacks we've beaten away. If we're being honest, we've beaten backup quarterbacks on the road.
And Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers,
who's playing like
he looks fantastic right now.
Who's playing like a backup quarterback, maybe a third string.
He's not playing like what? You need to put some respect on this man's name. I'm about to give you some DHT or whatever the hell that boy is taking. I'm about to give him to you because I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Woody, I will tell you what. You spend some time in Green Bay, if you spend some time around Packers fans, they will talk even more negatively about him than I just did. So that is not the case. He is not playing well. I'm sorry. If we lose this game, there is a pathway to 5-5 for the Jets.
Music to my ears.
I mean, obviously, there's a pathway. I mean, there's a pathway anywhere. There's
a likely pathway.
There's a pathway to 5-12. Or I don't care about pathways. What I'm telling you right now is that I believe this will be a hard-fought loss. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I completely agree with the Massol saying that this will be a 1-score game. Saying it's a 2-score game, I feel like is crazy. We couldn't even go up 2 scores against Denver. I think
you picking against the Jets, 2 of the 4-game win streak that we had, in which we won them substantially. Some of them substantially. I'm sorry, Woody. This very well could be a 2-score game. This defense is elite. There is trouble in paradise in New England. They don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the entirety of the game. We need to this should be a game that we win assuredly.
Is our offense coming along? Is our offense in paradise? What? Oh my gosh!
I'm talking about
our 2 best offensive weapons. We lost our 2 best offensive weapons. And you trying to tell me that we
did we not replace one of them, and then we got another guy back from last week?
It's not an even replacement. It's an uneven replacement. All right, he's been on the team for 4 days. He don't know the playbook. Okay, we have one crybaby right? Who could just throw a tantrum, start reaching into his diaper and throwing shit all over like the sideline. We have no idea what's about to happen. We don't. I'm not saying that it will be catastrophe. As a matter of fact, what I actually said was the highest praise. I literally have matched this up week by week with the team that made the Super Bowl representing the AFC last year. That's actually what I've done. So I do think that the ceiling, the path, you want to keep talking about paths, okay? We'll get the pavement out because we're headed to the playoffs. But this week, I think we're taking that L. The week after that, I think we're taking that L. And I think coming out the bye, all right, Salah getting these boys ready, all gas, no break. We're going to go into Gillette and whip some candy massholes. That's what I think.
Well, that sounds good, but I want a freaking sweep. I'm done. You know what I love about what Salah has talked about. You know, at the beginning of the season, where he's bringing up the data, and Woody's brought this up in podcast pass as well, where this season was the first season we beat an AFC East division rival. In how many years, Woody, was it?
3
5?
Or 4.
Three?
Sorry, 4.
2017,
yeah.
And I think what I love about what Salah has been doing, and that game, that was the most decisive one we had all season against the Dolphins. And what I loved about that, sure, it was against the third string quarterback that we did that. It was the second string quarterback, but we were too tough that we had forced them to bring in their third because we beat the living crap out of Teddy Bridgewater.
Not hard to do.
What's that?
I said not hard to do. That guy's made of glass.
Not hard to do, but we did it. And I'll tell you what, I think this team is going to be looking for blood. I think despite us having such a young team, what I will say I love about Salah is he is very good at bringing mentality into perspective. You know, for you to have such a young team as we do, for them to go and for him to really communicate how important these in-division games are, for him to be a 49ers guy and to come in here and understand the history of dried tears, rivers running down our cheeks, you know, when we go and play in division rivals, to see them play as hard as they did against the Dolphins, who I think defensively is superior. I think offensively, when it comes to the run, comparable. I'm not going to go and give an edge really neither way, because I think both teams, I think the Dolphins probably have more guys doing it, but I think the Patriots have 2 guys that are probably superior than the 3 guys that the Dolphins have. But regardless, Salah has done a tremendous job bringing into perspective how important these in-division games are for people who never probably heard the Jets before they got drafted by them. You know, what did we give Sauce Gardner or Michael Carter? What did we give them to know about the Jets while they were in college? Nothing. So I think they've done a great job to go and get them prepared for these AFC East games, and I think we're going to start the season off 2-0 in division.
Or do you think that is the opposite? That because they don't know anything about the history, they don't care. They're not like they're not getting in their heads. They're just showing up and there to kick ass.
Well, there's a possibility of that, but that's what I'm saying is I think Salah has done such a good job of getting this into perspective for these young players who don't really know much about the rivalry. I mean, the Patriots-Jets it's a very new rivalry. You know, historically it was always Jets-Dolphins, and the Patriots are like, yeah, no, we're not worried about you guys. For a very long time, that's how it was.
Yeah.
And in recent years, I mean, the Patriots have risen to be the number 1 rival of every single AFC East team in the division, because you guys ran the table for 14, 15 freaking years. And I think considering that history, I do trust Salah and the squad to put that into perspective for the guys. But Belichick, who has lived through it his entire career, at least as a head coach in the Patriots, you know, he gets it. And I think the young players over in the Patriots understand that too. But we're going to see.
We will see. We will see. Wow. I got to say, one thing that we do have this week for the Jets, all right, that will give us the spirit, right? You talked about Salah coaching up these boys, right? Something else, just some extra mojo, some extra karma. I would like to introduce followers, people that are on the plane, passengers of the Take Flight Talk who are here listening to the three of us talk in the cockpit. We thank you. Okay. We started this show how many weeks ago? When the season started, right? So we're talking about week 8. We started this show. We got 300 plus followers, right? We got 300 plus passengers riding with us all the way to the playoffs. I'm telling you, we're making those playoffs. So this week is the start of the inaugural TFT Fan of the Week. Okay. This is your chance to be a part of something special. All right. We are flying high, jet up. Okay. All you have to do is follow take_flight_talk. Okay. Follow TFT_Fitz and follow S2S Wudi. And as long as you just comment on the post of the main page, you are eligible to be the TFT Fan of the Week. We thank you. Okay. 300 and counting. Jet up. That's what we got going. So this week will be the first one. So maybe the spirit, the mojo, the karma of this first ever TFT Fan of the Week will be what it takes to give us that dub in MetLife. I don't think so, because I already said 23-20. But
or that plane's going to crash into a mountain, one or the other.
Whoa, this dude trying to recreate 9/11. What are you,
okay.
man? What are you doing? What are you doing?
That plane took off from Boston. We're all guilty here.
Well, I gotta say, that graphic. Can we bring that graphic up one more time, real quick?
Absolutely.
I just want to block out my cousin.
Yeah, I knew that's what was happening.
This feels nice. I like this here.
Well, definitely.
But, so I do want to hand it over to Masshole. Give us your final will and testament here. We've got a big game Sunday. Give me some final thoughts. Anything we might have skipped over during our discussion.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said, I think both quarterbacks neither one of them are going to light it up. I think both of them are going to struggle with playing against the defenses, and just playing at the divisional game is always tough. It always has a greater chance to be low scoring, which, I mean, we all saw with our predictions. I definitely see the Patriots defense turning it around. There's no way after what Justin Fields and that atrocious Bears offense did to us that Belichick will not have them ready to play the Jets. And especially, like you said, the difference in the dual threat with Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, I think he's going to have them prepared as if they are playing Justin Fields again. I think that's how that runs there. Not a fan of the cornerback wide receiver matchups. The Patriots haven't had a guy at receiver for like a good bit now that's reliable. I mean, even Edelman's last years were just half the season was injuries and whatnot, and he wasn't himself clearly. So, I mean, I think there's a chance that we see that come and bite the Patriots in the ass here. So, like I said, though, 2017, they're going to pull it out and burn that stack of CDs to the ground that you call a stadium.
Woody, bring us home, will you?
Well, we are rooting for the Jets, okay? They are about to fly high. James Robinson, welcome to town, okay? Definitely a great breakdown. Masshole, you know what? I will be courteous. Thank you. Thank you for riding in the Take Flight Talk with us, being a co-pilot, all right? Not steering us into a building. All right, I was lucky, all right? We made it safely through the episode, so I thank you for that. I do think that, we all agree, all three of us in unison agree that this will be a fight. This will be a dog fight. All right. So, in the wise words of Mills Lane, who is a ref that I don't even think people know anymore because I'm just an old man, but let's get it on. Let's Take Flight Talk.
Thanks for joining us, Connor.